On my last night of production, I came home and there was a chair that was just spinning in circles in the room. No air conditioning on, no windows open.
Oh my God, I'm so
I have
glad
a video
I didn't know
I
this.
can show you guys
Okay,
after
that's
this.
terrific.
Among other things, yeah.
Hey there, Den of Geek fans. Aaron Sagers here, and we are filming during New York Comic Con with the cast and creatives of Hysteria, and this is the horror, pop, campy, thriller series on Peacock. All episodes are available now, and I'm happy to be talking to you guys. First, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the show, as someone that grew up during the Satanic Panic, I'm kind of curious, do you guys have any recollections or a standout memory from that time? Because maybe it's never ended, but that is a wild time. Satan is lurking around every corner, behind every album and every movie. Any recollections? Let's go with Matt and David. Start.
Well, I unfortunately was not alive during the Satanic Panic.
God, rub it in. Oh, the little.
Yeah. But when I was 9 years old, my dad took me to my first ever concert, which was to go see Kiss. Big show, theatrics, fire breathing, spitting blood, the coolest thing a 9-year-old kid could ever see. The next day, I wore a shirt from the concert into my classroom, and my teacher said, "You are not coming into my class wearing that shirt."
Wow.
She then explained to me that KISS stood for Knights in Satan's Service.
It does?
Which I don't think she understood made me so much more excited to go home and listen to KISS.
Of course it did.
So that was my early brush with it. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
That's what it
Did not
stands.
know. You guys didn't know that? Really?
No,
I never knew that.
I had no idea.
That's what they said, and like AC/DC is Antichrist, Devil's Children, is what they would say during the moral
I never
panic.
knew that.
So this
That's
is
actually
true.
really
The Satanic
exciting.
Panic is actual.
I had no idea.
Satan is
I thought-
behind
I
all
thought
this
Hysteria
music,
was based
really.
on true events. No.
Wow.
Does anyone else want to weigh in on their? Do you have a memory, a standout memory during the moral panic, Satanic Panic of the '80s?
Only that my neighbors played Dungeons and Dragons, and my parents were like, "Don't do it, don't do it. It's bad."
It's a gateway.
It's a gateway. And no,
gateway
there was the apocryphal story of the kid who killed himself because his character died. It turns out it was an urban legend. But they were like, "Oh, don't play a game that uses your imagination and creativity. There's Atari."
And the one thing
Atari
that I've
sucks.
heard after all of the court cases came up, an incredibly few amount of people were actually prosecuted for anything other than what the normal public does that's creepy.
Yeah.
You're always going to have that happening, but they couldn't. There was no uptick in anything that was really provable and actionable.
Yeah, it was just a lot of zealotry, and we'll get to that. But
Didn't the Night Stalker famously leave an AC/DC recording at a crime scene?
He did.
He did.
What's insane about that is now I think about AC/DC as like the lamest dad rock possible.
Yeah, it doesn't
Hey.
seem that hardcore
Hey, now.
now.
it's like the soundtrack to Iron Man, you know. So it's a different thing. Well, when you're approaching a story that's set during this time frame, how do you kind of lean into the nostalgia without it being a nostalgia play? Because you want to keep it fresh. David?
Well, that was the goal. The goal was to make it feel real, but also harken back to movies that were made during this period. I mean, our directors and our production designer and our costumers and our actors all sort of walk that line of, we want to make this feel like this is happening in the 80s, but also there's a lot of stuff in here, subtle references to movies that came out of the 80s, and that's the goal.
I had to work on my Michigan accent a little bit, though, to get it just right.
Well, Bruce, I mean, your character, I've known you for a while. We've talked a lot throughout the years. When we hear a character with the title of Chief in pop culture, typically it's somebody that's like hard as nails or non-believer or he's gonna clean up this town. This is kind of like it feels like it's against type as a character, but also a different type of character for you. He's got compassion, he's kind of on the side of the angels a little
Because
bit.
you normally play one-dimensional characters. And now,
Not this time,
There's
Bruce.
so much depth. It's
here's what it's called.
Do you know what compassion is, Bruce?
Now I do. It's called good writing, and I'm only half joking because that's what I felt too. I went, it's really easy to do the cardboard cutout cop. And as I read, when I first started to consider this thing of like, what are they doing with this guy? And I love the fact that he doesn't disrespect teenagers. He listens to them and talks to them, much like a cop in the 80s in Michigan might actually do.
Okay.
So I thought it was incredibly refreshing because normally cops are just one note, my way or the highway. Then they go home and get drunk and beat their wife. You know, it was nice to have a different spin on it.
Well, and Julie, your character, as I'm watching it, it reminded me a little bit of the mom, Mrs. Freeling from Poltergeist, as far as she starts out as this likable, charming, kind of a normal mom and a likable mom, and then shit gets real, like it gets off the hook. So talk a little bit about your approach to this character and going from playing all sides of the crazy coins.
Well, when I first read the pilot, I was a little concerned because I was like, oh, it's a mom. You know, I just got off 11 years of playing a mom. I'm like, it's a mom, and the kids are having all the fun, and they're like riding their bikes off and playing satanic music, and the mom's like, oh, where is he? And then you get to the end of the pilot, and you go, oh, bananas. Okay, I want this. Right away, I was like, oh, we don't know what's happening. We don't know if she's crazy. Linda may be crazy. Linda may be possessed by the devil. Linda is going to go through a transformation over the course of the series that Matthew, we just found out his name is Matthew.
Oh, I'm so
what?
surprised.
His name is Matt.
I thought it was Matt Scott Kane.
That Matthew had walked me through the arc of the character and sort of, because we didn't have all the scripts yet, and I was really fascinated because I've never gotten to play. I am crazy, and I've never actually gotten to play that.
The best
and
way.
I really got to tap into my inner crazy.
So Bruce was playing against type, and you're playing right into your real
Well, I
personality.
was playing. People don't usually see it because they think that I'm like, America's mom kind of a thing, and I'm like, oh no, I'm nuts. So I was very happy. I was very happy to get a chance to play a little bit off the wall.
The nice thing is the camera loves crazy.
Oh yeah.
It
You know what?
translates really well.
Bruce, like he's nice when you don't think he's gonna be, and it really
Right.
throws me
Throws
off.
you off.
I know.
It's
He
like,
did that in the last interview, and I was like, I'm going to cry all of a sudden.
I know. I'm like, I want to touch him.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
the beauty of the recorded segment. So it'll always look like the good guy on camera, and then you get
Boing.
to know the real Bruce.
Ting.
Anna, your character Tracy, obviously it's a different character, but I reflected back to the character of Sarah Newland from True Blood as far as it seems like a woman that has a actual sincere love for her family, but seems to get caught up in the Satanic Panic, the zealotry and the performative elements of that. What is it about that character that appeals to you? Kind of like add more shades to that.
I mean, I think that I love playing women who project a certain type of togetherness and perfection, but inside they are so conflicted. And I feel like Tracy is really filled with a lot of shame for who she actually is. So she's really putting on armor, like with the hair and the makeup and the clothes and the everything. It's become this kind of protective shield, and she's using religion as like a tool to protect herself because I think she's carrying a lot of shame for who she actually is. So
One of your cast members, Chiara Aurelia, was saying...
Kiara.
See, I've not spoken to her, so I got the pronunciation wrong. Chiara, I am sorry. Chiara Aurelia. So she did an interview recently where she talked about a potentially haunted, cursed set, and it kind of fits that model of The Exorcist, The Omen, Rosemary's Baby, all of these films that dealt with the dark forces out there and then were said to be cursed. It's also great for marketing. But what do you think about that? Was there any spookiness taking place on set?
I don't want to contradict Kiara. We didn't have a haunted set. I'm sorry.
yes, we
Did
did.
not?
No, we
had a
didn't.
lot of
No,
No, we
didn't.
did.
There was a
Nikki,
story about a
we
black
had
cat.
a lot of
Black
black
cats.
cats visiting
A black
different
cat.
cast
Oh my
members.
God, a cat on a set.
No, and also the
Oh my
nightlight.
God, there was
Nikki
an
and I,
animal?
there was a nightlight that would go off on set in your house. We would have to sit there when we were in holding. Oh, damn it. Don't tell Nikki, because
I also lived in 2 haunted Airbnbs while I was out there, just saying.
Do tell.
Sure. Okay. On my last night of production, I came home and there was a chair that was just spinning in circles in the room. No air conditioning
I
on,
didn't
no
know that.
windows
Oh
open.
my God, I'm so
I have
glad
a
I didn't
video
know
I
this.
can show you guys
Okay,
after
that's
this.
terrific.
Among other things. Yeah.
And your dog named
Yeah. Creepy.
creepy.
was barking at the.
No, he didn't bark. He didn't bark. So the first house was owned by someone in like the 1900s. There's still a photograph of her up in the house, though she doesn't live there anymore. My dog never has accidents. The one time he's ever wet himself was standing in front of a photograph of the old.
Are you
Wow.
kidding me?
Poor creepy.
I mean,
Creepy. Got really creepy
So we
on us.
got haunted Airbnb, maybe 2. We have random black cats showing
Lot
up
of
on
black
All
set.
of the picture cars before we were supposed to shoot got stuck on a train track, I think, and they got smashed, right?
Yeah,
Before no one got hurt. No one got
First
hurt.
shot of the show was supposed to be a car that we spent weeks picking out, and the night before the first day of shooting,
Do
it
you
got
know
hit by a
what?
train.
Do you know what? These were 80s vehicles that we were driving in the show. And my car, if you didn't keep it running between takes, would turn off because it was such a piece of crap. So I think that car was haunted.
Haunted, definitely spooky.
Definitely
spooky.
haunted.
Right?
Every
No,
set
our
was-
door,
80s
our
K
car
cars
door
were
didn't.
haunted.
You could not close the door, and so they go slam the door. You're mad. Linda's mad, and I'd slam it, and it would go. "Rrrr." So I think that was haunted too.
Haunted.
Definitely a haunted car.
See, David, these guys get it.
You're right,
when you're
you're
asked
right.
about the
It
haunted
turns
set, you
out
say yes.
Every show I've ever been on has been haunted, it turns out.
Yes.
Finally, random question. Nolan North is also on this show, and Bruce Campbell. Is there a battle between distinguished actors with a distinct voice, both really nice chins, and what is the throwdown between you and Nolan North?
The main difference is he's a jerk.
Wow.
He's like the
Right?
nicest
Wow.
person
Sorry, was
ever.
that out loud?
He's literally
Wow.
like the nicest guy in the world.
He is he's a delightful fellow, but there is an element of schizophrenia that comes with doing a bunch of voices. I didn't know who I was talking to in any given day.
So
Are you
maybe
the Munchkin from this show? Are you the demon? Or are you the Batman voice from the Joker's? You know, it's who are you today?
the real satanic panic or presence on the set of Hysteria was Nolan North.
Just so you know, he's doing all the demon voices in the show.
All right.
Did you know that?
Are you for
That's
real?
not true.
No, not for real.
Again, you got me again.
Sounds good.
Really?
It sounds good.
I'm so gullible.
I am too.
We all
I
believed
was
it.
too. I didn't know it.
Guys, I got to let you go, but I do have to say, Hysteria, a lot of fun. I love the camp, I love the pop, I love the horror. It all kind of blends nicely together, and just a really killer show. So thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your New York Comic Con.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Stand
you.
by for
Thank
some
you.
announcements in the next couple of days.